At Avocado, we believe everyone deserves a safe, healthy mattress and a great night's sleep. That's why we're so excited to introduce our new Eco-Organic mattress, starting at just $6.99 with easy financing and made with the same incredibly comfortable, naturally cool materials you've come to expect from Avocado. It's a radically affordable, certified organic mattress held to the highest standards of social and environmental responsibility. Organic sleep awaits at avocadomattress.com.
All right, and we're live. Good morning. Good morning. Happy Thursday to you. It is just after 6:30 a.m. on Thursday morning. I'm Central Time, so wherever this finds you, if you're on the West Coast listening or about to pick this up live, it's pretty early. If you're on the East Coast, you may just be getting started as it's after 7:30. But anyway, we're going to get moving with this today. Champ Ron, aka Ron Brooks. I am here in Memphis, Tennessee, and we're going to talk about this subject today, which is how to leverage your job as an apprenticeship in preparation for entrepreneurship. A little bit of a mindset shift, mindset change, if you will, as it relates to your career. Real quick, as we get started and as people join the room, to learn more about me, you can go to champ10k.com. That's the easiest way. So when people want to ask kind of question, how do we get in touch with you? How do we connect? And that sort of thing. It's very easy. That's the great thing about technology. We make it very easy. One place you got to go. That's it. Champ10k.com. There's really not a whole lot of question to it. Go to champ10k.com. That's where the information is. I've got my phone number there. I've got my email address. I've got links to all kinds of different resources, particularly if you are engaging me in one of three areas where I add value. And those three areas are primarily me as the president of River City Capital here in Memphis. We are actually a nonprofit lender, referred to as a CDFI, or Community Development Financial Institution, here in Memphis, Tennessee. And we exist for the primary purpose of providing low-cost, compassionate capital to Black, Indigenous, and women-owned businesses here in Memphis and Shelby County. That's Memphis, Tennessee. So that's the market that we operate in, solely Memphis, Tennessee. Does that mean we are currently doing business all over the country? No. Again, that's what that means. Memphis and Shelby County. That's where we do it currently. And we've been not only successful at that, but the biggest thing that I'm proud of is we've been able to make a significant difference in our community by providing and helping to edify small business. And we're looking to continue to do that by improving our internal operation and improving our website, which we recently did, and improving our loan application system, which we did in conjunction with Black-owned fintech Loanwell out of North Carolina, that we are extremely pleased with and have worked very well with for sure. Other area, I'm a podcaster, so I'm the host of the Minding Your Business podcast, which I've been doing since August of 2017. Entrepreneurship, real estate, trending news. There's no business like minding your own. I've been doing that. You can find that again. Where? champ10k.com. That's one of the prime ways you can get connected there. Listen to any of the now over total 300 episodes that I've recorded of the podcast. And if you're interested in being a guest on the podcast, particularly, definitely communicate with me again on champ10k.com. My email address is there. Shoot me an email. You can send me a message on one of the social media platforms, and I'll get with you and we can schedule a date and time for you to be on the podcast to share your business or your story, or maybe your upcoming or current book that you've penned and authored. Or whatnot, or even your event. I'd love to be able to share that and discuss that with my audience, the MYB community. So that's the Minding Your Business podcast. Lastly, real estate investing. is something else that I've done. I've done for many years now, actually almost 15 years that I've been real estate investing, and I coach and mentor others to become real estate investors as well. So one of the great joys that I have is being able to link up shoulder to shoulder with someone like yourself and help you develop your real estate investing business on your terms. Because listen, everyone has different approaches. Everybody comes from a different place in life, and everybody has different goals and expectations. And so rather than just record YouTube video after YouTube video and stick it out there and just tell you the generics or what worked for me, well, my situation is different than yours, likely. And what worked for me may not work for you, and so rather than make a cookie cutter type platform, I chose to develop a mentorship where I provide no fluff modules online virtually. And then you're able to schedule a series of one on ones, not just with myself, but with my business partners as well, who are also real estate investors to help you develop your business. So if you don't have a lot of money or the best of credit, it's still options for you to be able to start. And if you do, if you got great credit and you've got some cash, a little nest egg, we can help that as well. Again, craft the business on your terms. For some of my folks that I work with, they just want to supplement their income, and they say, well, Ron, I just want to be able to add an extra 3,000 or 5,000 or $10,000 a month or more, right? And so that's their goal. Or other people, they want to become full-fledged real estate investors and do it full time and choose an exit strategy or two, whether that's fix and flip, or they want to do short-term rental Airbnb type things, or if they want to be a landlord and kind of buy and hold, or maybe do what's called a BRRRR strategy. They may want to wholesale, right? They may want to be a wholesaler, or they may want to do what I talked about yesterday, which is wholetailing. And so there's several exit strategies that we teach because we've completed them successfully, and we've gone and we've experienced the downsides of those too, where we can share our experience and kind of share with you where the landmines are, so to speak. So those are three areas: real estate, podcasting, and providing low cost funding for minority business owners. Those are the three areas, or kind of three lanes that I exist. So tap in with me at champ10k.com. Again, what we're going to talk about this morning is how to leverage your job as an apprenticeship in preparation for entrepreneurship. So along my career, and what I didn't mention earlier is my career started while I was in college. Early 2000s, after playing just a little bit of college basketball. That came, of course, to an end, which happens in sports. For most people in sports, two things happen: either you leave it or it leaves you, right? And so, in this case, where we had a mutual split, so to speak, and now I was quote unquote a civilian again. I'm in college and I'm focused on school, and I got started, of course, in banking, and I was fortunate and blessed to parlay that into what turned out to be an 18-year career in banking before, running my own financial institution as I do now with River City Capital. Along that route, one of the things that I learned is how to shift your mindset around your career and around your job. So right now, if you're in the workforce, of course, the workforce goes through its ebbs and flows and evolution. And right now, because there's many people who have left the workforce for a myriad of reasons, or scaled down what they're doing in the workforce, or the workforce population has shifted across different industries. Many of that impacted by the pandemic in some form or fashion. Now is a great time to shift your mindset around your expectations of your career and of your job. What I mean by that, and the mindset of looking at your job as an apprenticeship, right, is if your ultimate goal and desire is to own some form of your own means of production, which is essentially what business ownership and entrepreneurship is. Entrepreneurship is simply the risk taking that's involved in launching an idea or a business. And then, of course, business ownership is actually owning and running the day to day operations of a business, the sales, service, operation piece, and employee engagement, if there be employees of your business. Okay, so those are the two areas. But your job becomes a great training ground, a great apprenticeship opportunity. Typically, when people have their job, and if they happen to find themselves in a job or career that they don't enjoy or don't feel like it's a good fit, they just kind of wallow in it. And they make excuses around bills having to be paid. And this is just kind of what I know, or this is what I chose, that sort of thing. And so many people take what I like to refer to as a defeatist attitude towards it. They don't take ownership. They point fingers. Everything is everybody's fault. And there's really no healing in that, right? There's no healing in pointing fingers, being mad, being bitter, being envious, being jealous, that sort of thing. Life challenges you to um, adjust your mindset beyond that commonality, right? That people tend to adopt, because it's easy to adopt. It's easy to wallow in the pig pen, right? Um, Taking ownership of your career with the things that you can change and evolve. You can't do that with everything, right? You won't, everything you're not able to change. But if you take the attitude with the things that you have the control and power to change, which is your attitude and approach, that's where you can begin your healing process, and you can find, opportunities and lanes, albeit how large or wide, you can find the lanes to be successful. And so, again, specifically with viewing your job as an apprenticeship, and that's where you view it as a training ground for your next step. You view your income or your salary not just solely on how you can consume and how you can create and pay bills. You begin planning on how you can use, some of your income, put it aside to um, as, have a seed money for your dreams, for the things that you want to do and you want to accomplish. And listen, if you're not looking at your future in terms of being a business owner and entrepreneur, that's great. That's fine, right? Like you say, everything is not for everybody. Just because it's put up to be cool or sexy or things like that doesn't mean it's for everybody. For some people, their career they love, they really enjoy, and that's what they want to do. That's where they see their calling. That's where they see their passions and their purpose. And there's nothing wrong with that. If you're in your career and that is your passion, that is your purpose, still look at it as an apprenticeship to continue to grow, right? Think of it for those that are Star Wars fans. I got to geek out a little bit on Star Wars, but everyone, you don't come into being a Jedi as a Jedi master, right? You generally go to Yoda, Master Yoda, or another Jedi, and you go through the apprenticeship, right? You become a Padawan, right? That's when you learn how to use the Force. That's when you learn about being a Jedi, right? And one of the first things they do, right, when you want to become a Jedi, is you start hanging around Jedi's, right? You're not going to become a Jedi just sitting in your apartment, wishing about it, right? One of the first things that they do is they take a kid and they bring him to the Jedi Temple, and they begin what? Their training. That's the first thing Yoda told Luke Skywalker and anybody else, right? And so they take you as a youth, and you learn. You become a Padawan. You become an apprentice. Remember, the Jedi's all have periods where they serve as a Padawan, as an apprentice to who? Another Jedi, another Master Jedi. And then guess what happens over time as they prove themselves, as they develop their skill set, as they develop their mindset, right? They become the Master Jedi and they adopt an apprentice, right? It's interesting how that works. So that's the Star Wars analogy. So I could geek out on that. You may not be a Star Wars fan, but that's just a nice analogy for what happens. So they view it as an apprenticeship, not as a job, right? Not as a job, but as an apprenticeship. Okay. Um, we've got Kathryn coming up. She's been up before in several of my rooms, so I want to have Kathryn come and speak to this a little bit. And I love hearing other people's thoughts. Hey, good morning.
Good morning. Well, if you're talking about Star Wars, I have to be in this conversation.
I figure I'm either going to alienate some people or people are going to love it. Not much in between.
Hey, my cat, Luke Skywalker is joining us.
Yeah, absolutely. So, Kathryn, tell us a little bit
So,
with what we're talking about. What are some of your thoughts?
it's interesting to me because I actually ran a national mentoring program for women a long time ago. We won't say how long ago, but a long time ago. And it was very interesting to me. First of all, when I was asked, I was like, oh, what's mentoring? I guess I'll figure it out. And so who did I go to? I went to men to find out what mentoring was, because that is a natural thing that men do in the business community. They identify someone that they would like to replace them. CEOs do that, leaders do that. They identify someone, they see something in them, just like a young Padawan,
Mm-hmm.
and they begin to slowly groom them and take them to their club, take them to their events, and do all that. And so when I started this program, I matched some of the top 1% of women business owners in the country with new entrepreneurs. And I quickly learned that no one had any idea how to mentor or how to be mentored.
Wow.
And so I had to implement a 3-month program at the beginning each year, because it was a year-long program. They had to apply, and it was this live competition, and to teach them how to be a mentor and how to be mentored. It was so fascinating to me because I grew up with entrepreneurs and leaders and watched the process of natural mentoring, but I never put it together. That's what it was, because it was naturally done until I started running this program. And, that's the way relationships were built. That's how we identified someone is, hey, this guy's doing well. I like the way he works. I'm going to take him on underneath me. I'm just going to start introducing him and take him to lunch and see where he wants to go. And that's how it was done. We've lost that a little bit, although I think men do that much more naturally than women do. And whether that's because they've been in the business world so long and, they had the master Jedi doing that before, it was just something they saw, right? So I think that what you're saying is so true, but it exists, but it's not spoken of, almost like the Jedi. That's why I loved your analogy, because it just makes so much sense to me.
Yeah, absolutely, Kathryn. I appreciate you sharing that. And it sounds like you developed a really sound program to kind of adopt that for women. How was that received by women? And what do you see as some of the comparison and contrast when that was introduced to women, that kind of mentorship, development?
It was interesting. Someone got kicked out every year for inappropriate behavior towards their mentor because they thought they were employees, not mentors.
Oh, wow. Jeez.
Mentors, the amazing women who were dear, dear friends of mine, and just the most amazing women, weren't quite sure what mentoring was, and often, as women do, gave too much. Instead of giving just the guidance, they gave too much without being asked of it, and didn't understand that the role of mentor was to be available, not to constantly give, and men seem to understand that, and that was what I was taught by the men I sat down with and asked. Is they said, the role of a mentoree is to show up and ask the question, set the time, be there. The mentor is always available.
At Avocado, we believe everyone deserves a safe, healthy mattress and a great night's sleep. That's why we're so excited to introduce our new eco-organic mattress, starting at just $6.99 with easy financing and made with the same incredibly comfortable, naturally cool materials you've come to expect from Avocado. It's a radically affordable, certified organic mattress held to the highest standards of social and environmental responsibility. Organic sleep awaits at avocadomattress.com.
Looking for a way to make some quick cash? Well, making money with DoorDash is super easy, guys. I love riding my bike around the city, and now I get to do that while getting paid. With DoorDash, I get to pick my own hours and be my own boss. I get paid on my deliveries and keep 100% of my tips. Not to mention the sign-up process was so quick and easy. Guys, I'm telling you, just download the DoorDash driver app and see how easy it is to start earning cash today.
When it's asked of them, but they don't constantly show up and find out where you are and what you're doing and how it's going. It's the mentoree's role to keep that relationship moving forward. And that was such a great lesson, but it was a difficult one to get across to my women that were in the mentoring program, both sides. Because I don't think it's a natural state for women. We always want to be helpful and always, please and all of that. And that's not a healthy mentoring relationship.
Yeah, Kathryn, thank you so much for coming up. And I want to have, Kathryn come back up here in just a minute because I want to expound on a great point that she made around, sometimes women wanting to, give a little bit too much. Sometimes women tend to have more of a nurturing spirit to them. And as a mentor, they give, so much that they don't allow the mentee to really develop. And that's one of the keys to and differences between mentorship and coaching is mentorship. The individual is focused on one's development, right? And coaching is focused on one's performance. Now, those two can blend, and they often do. You see it in sports, you see it in other arenas. However, if you're serving solely as a mentor, then you're serving to help someone's development. And in helping someone's development, they have to have some of their own path. And so you remember in Star Wars as the Jedi, Yoda served as a bit of both, right? He served as a mentor and as a coach. He coached performance, right? And that performance was using the Force. Remember, if you take Yoda as the analogy, he didn't just coach on utilizing your lightsaber. You notice that they spent very little time in just showing you how to use the lightsaber. What he showed you is how to manage your mind and how to manipulate the Force. And so, those are some things to take as an analogy as you look at mentorship. Yoda wasn't just standing there with Luke all the time, because Luke had to go through his own trials and tribulations, right? Like the first time in Empire Strikes Back when he fought Vader for the first time without knowing that that's his father, of course, until, the end, at the end of the battle. But he didn't know that. Yoda didn't tell him that that was his father because he knew that would influence his emotions. So he had to go into the battle as, this is, purely my enemy, right? And Yoda didn't come and intervene. Obi-Wan didn't come and intervene. They had to allow him to go through that on his own, right? And so that's what happens in mentorship as well, is your mentor has to go through that on his own. And guess what happened in Return of the Jedi? Luke goes back to his mentor. Now, of course, Yoda dies and that sort of thing, but he goes back. It was on him to come back. Yoda didn't coerce him to come back. Luke promised that he would come back, and Luke fulfilled that promise, right? As what? The mentee. So we want to have Kathryn come back up, and I want her to kind of further expound on a great point that she made around women being a little too giving as a mentor. Kathryn, I had to have you come back up. I'm sorry, dear. I had to have you speak some more on kind of that notion that women as nurturers sometimes in their spirit tend to be a little bit more giving as a mentor, maybe than they should, to allow that development to foster. Can you speak some more on that?
Well, I really think it's more about not having that lineage of natural mentoring before them. Some women do if they have, strong traditional male figures or leaders. I mean, my best champions have been men in my business life, and most of my friends are men. And so I really learned from that. I came from a family of entrepreneurs. And so I got to witness that. So, I understood the difference, but not a lot of women have that going into business unless they're really paying attention. And the ones that move up often are groomed and mentored by men. And it's until enough of us have picked that trade up to see the difference in the world. I don't think it's necessarily that we go in and automatically nurture, but I think it's just there's not enough historical context to look at the difference of what your nurturing is in your personal life and the difference within mentoring. That can seep in a little bit, but even once I talked to my mentors, I was like, okay, here's what the boundaries are. They were like, oh, okay, they struggled with a little bit of understanding what they were, but once I started teaching that, it didn't seem to become as much of a problem.
I love that. I love that, Kathryn. Do you feel like the women were more trying to serve as coaches versus mentoring? Were they more trying to kind of like be there and present and kind of coach people to performance versus kind of helping them develop?
Yeah, I mean, I even though I'm trained as a coach, I would never call myself a coach, and so I look at things a little bit differently. I would say more that they came in because I asked them to, because they were a friend and I respected them and they respected me, and they wanted to make sure that what they had been asked to do, they did fully, and I wasn't disappointed, and that they had stepped up to the plate that I had asked them to commit to. And I say that because that was often the comment that I would get when they were struggling or when something happened. They're like, I just don't want to let you down. You asked me to do this. I've made this commitment and I want to make sure it goes well and this can continue forward. And it was more about that.
Mm.
These were, women who have $100 million companies, founders of, $1 billion companies. And so, they weren't really coaching, wasn't even existence that much when they were starting businesses, and I love your distinction with coaching, because I struggle with people wanting to call me a coach, and I'm like, I'm not a coach, I'm a mentor.
Right.
Sometimes that will come in, but I am a mentor. That is my style. That is how I work with people. And I think that's so important how you made that distinction as well, because that seems to get very confusing for people of what that means. And the conversation around that is so important, because it's a very clear distinction. Yes, it may kind of mush together every once in a while when necessary, but there is a difference. And that mentoring is so powerful that, we need to make it its own thing.
Yeah, no, absolutely, Kathryn. And I appreciate you sharing that and kind of providing some more context and kind of color around that. I think it's extremely interesting between the genders, kind of what the experience is and the expectations. I actually took down a few notes just to, some things to dwell on with what you shared. And as someone with, my wife who's in the medical field, and then I've got three daughters, 12, 11, and 10. As I groom them, I think about what you said. And how I can better expose them to understanding that difference between mentorship and coaching, and how to be able to seek that out and what their role is as mentee, and then also as mentor, right? And so I really appreciate you coming and sharing this morning.
Well, thank you for letting me join you. And just, I always say men have been my greatest champion. I like women, but really, men really.
Yeah, and Kathryn, let me have you come up, because I want to let you finish that last point that you made, and then Tiffany, I want to have you come up. I want to hear from you as well. But Kathryn made that last point of she's been around a lot of men, and so men have been in the business world a lot longer, particularly at those higher levels, and so. I do want to have Kathryn come back and finish that her point, but I do want to give Tiffany a quick chance first to kind of speak and share. Then, Kathryn, I want to come back to you as well. So we're going to have Tiffany come up, who's been listening diligently, and I want to have her share and kind of pour into us. So, hey, Tiffany, how are you?
Good. How are you?
I'm well. I'm well. Good morning to you. Um, I want to hear some from you. What are your thoughts on this subject? And the floor is yours.
So, I guess I'm in a unique position because I am a business consultant as well as a mentor. Um, Two different age groups, though. I mentor students in grades 6 through 12. I've done that for almost 5 years, and my consulting. Well, I consult with entrepreneurs specifically in the creative industry. So I, as I was listening to you all, speak about the topic, I was making those. I was standing here shaking my head, and I was like, "Yep, check that off. Yep, the kids definitely." I'm like thinking about all of the similarities, and like I said, I'm just like going down a quick checklist in my mind. Um, but I will say that I think I don't think that. Well, I'll start it like this: women, I do think, have an innate wanting to help.
Mm-hmm.
That is very, very general, very blanket statement. Now, um, I will follow that up with I currently in my business I have all females on my team.
Okay.
The only male, excuse me, is he's in the UK and he only deals with me. He doesn't work directly with anybody else on our team. So other than him, my team is all males. I mean, all females, sorry. And at the university that I work with, same thing. We have a team of all Black females. And so
Mm.
what I've noticed is that even though, and I work at Norfolk State University's Innovation Center, and the women on our team, I mean, these are, women with doctorates. These are women, just high level women, right?
Yeah.
And I've noticed the opposite. They're not necessarily nurturing. They will give us the things that we need for us to succeed on our own. And we are constantly reminded of that. We're not necessarily, quote unquote, babied or anything like that. We're not spoon fed information or we're not really helped as if traditional women would.
Mm.
I think there is a difference when you are interacting with and working with a high level woman in general. I think that there's a different mindset. Um, not to say that women that don't have a high level degree are not smart or anything like that. I think it's just different. I think high level women, as your previous guest was speaking to, high level women just, they may work around more men. They may have different work experiences. Personally, I'm the same way. I have a lot of men as friends, but I was also in the military for almost 10 years.
Mm.
And
Thank you.
so thank you. So I'm used to operating and treating people a different way. I would rather give you a little bit of information, and I would rather see what you can do with that versus take you along the whole road and hold your hand, because at the end of that road, at the finish line, unless I'm holding your hand, what have you learned? You know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean? So I think it is a different mindset. Again, I don't think it's solely because high level women have been around men. I think you really have to dig a little deeper and see, what did their family lives look like? What kind of work situations were they in? Not necessarily, based off of gender, but what type of situations have they been placed in? Were they placed in leadership roles in their previous at their previous jobs, or did they have responsibilities when they were younger? I mean, I think it's you really have to look at the whole picture to see if whoever you're working with, man or woman, is a high level, high performing person, due to where they came from, or are you working with someone that they've been handheld, they've been spoon-fed, so I mean that's what they're going to pour into someone else.
No, I love that, Tiffany. And you bring up some great points that I definitely want to expound on. So thanks for coming up, and I want to have you come back up if time permits. Definitely, for sure. So I appreciate Tiffany sharing some points. Yeah, that's interesting in terms of, we've had now a couple guests who serve as kind of mentors, and both expressed kind of being around men primarily. Within their circle. Now, Tiffany was a little different. She's got kind of an all-woman team, whereas Kathryn kind of came from more of a male-dominated situation and kind of adopted more of those approaches and principles. And I love that Tiffany's in that kind of 6 through 12 space, which is a very important space where mentorship is definitely needed. As someone with the sixth grader, my oldest daughter's in the sixth grade, heading towards seventh grade. That need for mentorship in that space is very apparent. Of course, as you can hear, the fire, the smoke detector go off, as my wife, who's a very great cook, but loves to do so at this time in the morning, which is really great. But of course, that goes off, and then it sets off my two dogs down there. So I'm upstairs in our bonus room having this conversation. We've got some more folks here. Kathryn, we want to have you come up. We've got Dr. Goodman, who we're going to have speak with us, and then we want to have Kathryn come back and kind of wrap us up here this morning. So, Dr. Goodman.
Goodman.
Did I say that right?
Goodman.
Goodman. Oh, I'm sorry. I said that completely wrong. So let me get that right. Goodman, Dr. Goodman.
Yes, go. It's okay. Go, man. Hey. Yeah.
Let's do it.
But huh?
Oh, go ahead. The floor is yours.
Okay. Well, I just want to actually mirror both of the women's. But I work with Kathryn, and in the sense that since it's been up, I start to like come out of retirement. But I'm writing a book because of Kathryn, just encouragement, and I like her energy. I mean, she's very direct and confident on what it is that she is saying, and I just wanted to acknowledge that. Let's see, as well. I mean, let me get to the topic there. How to leverage your job. Okay. My uncle will always say, "A penny for your thought." I would tell him, he would encourage me, and then turn around and give me the penny. But then he would say, "Do you understand what I said?" I said, "Yes, sir." He would say, "Okay, tell me in your own words." And that stuck with me. I mean, after he did it from I was 8 years old to the age 11, and that stuck with me. It's like, okay. And one other thing he said, do better than I did. And he had 5 acres, horses, cows, barn, a farm. But pretty much all of my family was saying that. My dad was the foreman of 3 farms. Yeah, but they always would say, do better than I did. I think the other lady made sort of a statement.
Introducing Avocado's game-changing Eco-Organic Mattress, a radically affordable GOTS-certified organic mattress, starting at just $6.99 with easy financing and a 100-night sleep trial. Organic sleep awaits at avocadomattress.com. At Avocado, we believe everyone deserves a safe, healthy mattress and a great night's sleep. That's why we're so excited to introduce our new eco-organic mattress, starting at just $6.99 with easy financing and made with the same incredibly comfortable, naturally cool materials you've come to expect from Avocado. It's a radically affordable, certified organic mattress held to the highest standards of social and environmental responsibility. Organic sleep awaits at avocadomattress.com.
My father said, she made it say sort of like this. My father said, take a boy to fish, he'll eat for a day. Teach a boy to fish, he'll eat for a lifetime. So, I mean, it's like a level of training, and being responsible, and you taking on that responsibility of doing that for yourself, and so I'm really liking this app, and I wake up in the morning, get a cup of coffee after I offer the young lady a cup, but a lot of times I get on up and make my coffee, sit here and listen to the new radio, I call it. That the one you can chime into, So
Yeah.
yeah, but I just want to acknowledge that, and this is fun, and actually Emma brought me out of retirement, and I finally did a talk with her, me and my wife, on relationships, and so it was fun, Now I'm eager to talk even more now, so like
Yeah.
that.
Well, Doctor, I appreciate those thoughts, and with you sharing your family, having had three farms, and kind of the coaching that you received. You kind of received both coaching and mentorship. You received the coaching of, "Hey, I want you to do better than me," but you noticed that that wasn't specified, so you had to determine for yourself what better was. And I think that's something to a larger point that I may even do another room on here in the future is that thought, because often from past generations the mindset was doing better was having more material things and living in a better area and areas that they didn't feel they had access to, uh,
Exactly.
and things like that, particularly those that are like baby boomers, like my parents, who are children of the 60s, right? And so they went through this turmoil. Thank you again, Doctor, for coming up.
Okay.
Appreciate it. I've got some other guests that are going to come, but that thought of in the past where mentorship and coaching was, yes, like Doctor said, do better than me. And the mindset was around material things. And then as we got into the 80s and 90s, and I'm a child of the 80s and 90s, it was about the rise of the celebrity and the individual. It's not the Chicago Bulls, it's Michael Jordan and the Bulls, right? Everything is LeBron James and the Cavaliers or the Lakers. It's not the Lakers, and that became the mindset across. And so as we talk about today's subject in relation to this, it's interesting that when you leverage your job as an apprentice, right, you're going to seek out, but you're going to receive both coaching and mentorship, sometimes from the same person, sometimes from different people, and understanding the difference between the two and what you're receiving and what your expectations are goes a long way to you seeing the results. Oftentimes, people will misconstrue one for the other. They confuse coaching for mentorship or mentorship for coaching. And so if you're looking for one but you're getting the other, if that's not what you're seeking, you may not gain the best experience. And so what we're talking about today is how to leverage your job as an apprenticeship or as an apprentice in preparation for entrepreneurship, which essentially means, and I want to get to my guest here in a second. What it eventually means is this. What I learned to do is, take your job, your career, and learn from it, right? You go through these great training courses, right? You're in these sales organizations, you're in these manufacturing organizations. They provide training materials. You get access to human resources. Those are skills that you're going to have when you open your business, right? Opening your business is not just, hey, I fry good wings. My family loves it on Sundays, and now I'm going to open up a wing restaurant and sell chicken wings, right? Well, there's more to running a chicken wing restaurant than just frying the wings. If that's all you had to do, that's the easy part. There's inventory management, there's managing employees with human resources, there's understanding finances, right? And understanding how to track those things, how to have the proper documentation, how to structure the business, right? How to promote and market the business, how to manage your branding and your messaging, right? So that it's crafted in the sense that it attracts the proper target audience, right? And there's the mindset of it, the big piece, how to overcome adversity, right? How to go through the ebbs and flows, the seasonality sometimes of business, how to deal with that disgruntled employee or the employee that doesn't have the same motivation or vision as you, how to deal with outside pressures, family, everything's, hunky dory when you first get married. You got to get to those later years, right? I always chuckle with the newbies. They give, me and my wife new life, but sometimes we shake our head. It's like, you'll find out. You know what I mean? So sometimes in that you have to mentor people and just, help their development. Just say, oh, you wait till the day when you got just as many kids as parents or more kids like us than parent, and you got to play a little zone defense. You're not man to man. Or you can't go 2-on-1, right? So wait till those days and then come back and holler at us. Shout out to my wife. She's down there. She walked by shaking her head, but we hit 15 years this summer. I tell you, we've been through the ebbs and flows. Definitely for sure, man. But that lady rocks out with me, man. She's, man, again, that's a whole different room, ladies and gentlemen. But let me get to some more guests and then we're going to wrap this thing up. And I'm going to wrap it up. Let me have Kathryn come up, and then I want my brother, Mr. O.D.A., one decision away, to jump in on this as well. So hang tight with me, brother. I definitely want to have you kind of close this thing out for us. Kathryn, thanks for coming back up.
Well, thank you for inviting me. And I have to say, I think there needs to be a few rooms on the difference between mentoring and coaching.
Yeah. Well, yeah, to say the least, for sure.
Yes. I love what Tiffany said, and I think, it's so important. Also, yes, what people's background, it plays a role in it. But I think part of the reason that I always make sure that I point out that men have always been wonderful champions for me. Not that I haven't had great female mentors, but we've gotten into a habit of bashing men. And I'm always very grateful for the fact that a lot of men have stepped up and championed me when I was a nobody, or, they had better choices in the room, or at least it appeared that way to me, and they decided to mentor me. And, I've always been very grateful to the fact that I've had those amazing men around me, and I've had great women give me opportunities. But what we need to remember is that apprenticeship is historical. Remember, like Michael be a painter for years. I was just talking to a friend who does home appraisals, and you have to apprentice for 5 years.
Right.
They're not going to do that anymore in some states.
Wow.
And so I think we're losing apprenticeship. And so I love this conversation because it's something that we need to look back upon as an important part of someone's growth in their career. So thank you for bringing it up. Thank you for letting me come up so many times and take up all this time. But I think it's time to bring apprenticeship back. Let's make apprenticeship cool again.
Yeah, there you go. Apprenticeship matters. Let's make apprenticeship great again. Yeah, I guess, Kathryn, do we need to get our hat? Hopefully, we're not making it red.
Yeah.
But yeah, so no, I agree that mentorship is something that, and again, it's focused on that development, right, and developing people, which again does take time. And for those of us that we're for myself, I'll speak. I'm the product of mentorship. Someone had to take make an investment in a black kid from Orange Mound here in Memphis, Orange Mound neighborhood, which is one of the oldest black communities in this country, next to Harlem, New York, in terms of communities that were built for people of black culture. And so for a kid like myself, someone to take stock in me, right, and help develop me, coach me along that way too, But my biggest thing was always that development, and that came with having to have seeds planted in me, and then be able to figure out where that growth takes place. And I'm here at this very moment, Kathryn, because of that that mentorship, and someone taking stock in me, starting with my parents. And kind of expanding onto their coaches at all levels of sports that I played in, both basketball and football, and then into the business world, right? Where I had mentors, some I learned great things from, some I learned what I didn't want to do, that didn't fit my personality, that didn't fit my approach, right? And all those things are good because they all brought me all the mistakes, all the joys, all the wins, all the lessons, all brought me to this very point where I'm here on the Wisdom app, rambling with you all. So on
Yeah,
a Thursday morning.
what I pointed out, which I say all the time, it's when someone believes in you and knows you can do something that you may not know anything about or not believe in yourself, and
Mm.
allows you to step forward and say, if they believe in me, they see that in me, then I guess I can do it. I'm just going to go for it. And that's what great mentoring is.
Yeah, no doubt about it. And so, that's very true, Kathryn. And I think, as we continue to kind of foster that, we'll have additional rooms here in the future where we can speak more to that, and really help some folks kind of gather their mindset, and hopefully provide an inspiring word that takes them throughout the rest of their day, and the rest of their week. So, yeah, that's really the goal of this. And that's why I really love the Wisdom app. Um, yeah, as I was introduced to it by our next guest, which is going to be Mr. O.D.A., Mr. One Decision Away. But Kathryn, thank you so much, and wish you the very best the rest of your day today and then going forward. Let me quickly get my brother up, Mr. O.D.A. He comes in, he always blesses the stage and curates some great rooms himself, man. So definitely looking forward. What's going on, my brother? Good morning.
What's going on, man? I love to talk, man. I love it, man. I'm learning now.
Man,
Man,
you in
you
the
got me
Matrix.
all conflicted over here.
Oh,
What
brother.
my
Oh,
name
my
gonna
brother, you in
be?
the Matrix,
Big
man.
character. 'Cause now I
Hey,
don't
Mr.
know
ODA,
if
you're in the Matrix, brother. I hate it. Oh man,
I'm.
you're in the Matrix. You're chopping up bad. Oh man, I'm gonna have my brother come back up, man. Because no, we're not letting him go out like that. Nah, not at all. I got to get him in. Hopefully, his signal can pick up a little bit better. Because I want to make sure we hear him clearly. You there, brother?
Yeah, how's that?
Yeah, that's a little better there, man. I wanted to make we didn't want to miss you.
Okay, yeah, I'm coming back from Savannah. Let know
Oh
I can
man.
make.
Oh, you still choppy. You still coming in choppy.
Still shopping, man. All
Oh
right,
yeah, but
I'll let.
damn. Yeah, man. Man, I was hoping my brother, because I want to make sure he's got max time and we want to hear from him. Um, Dang, man. Brother, I'm gonna keep it open just a few more minutes, man. If you get into a better spot, definitely tap back in because I'd love to kind of close out with you because I know Mr. ODA, my brother, man, he's gonna have some good insight on this particular subject. For what he does over in the North Carolina market. But no, I appreciate Doctor coming up. I appreciate Tiffany. I appreciate Kathryn in those thoughts. And as we round this up, and hopefully Mr. ODA gets into a little bit better service area where he can jump back in. But again, I want to leave you with it's very critical, right, to shift your mindset. Share this with your youth, your children. If you got teenagers, if you've got young adults who are going to be entering possibly the workforce, and if they have dreams and aspirations of, whether they're looking to go into an area that's really their area that they want to stay in, or if they want to be able to transition to ownership, right? One of the things you could do is everything has its stages, right? And so we've given some great analogies. Kathryn shared, Tiffany shared, Dr. Robert shared earlier, just some really kind of prime examples specific on ways that you can do this, even through some different analogies, right? And so, if you've got youth that are going into the workforce, teach them how to view it as an apprenticeship. Don't throw away those training manuals. That's free material, college level material, right? You go to these jobs and you go work for a Fortune 500 company, or even if you don't, you work for a smaller mid-sized company. As you go through training and you get introduced, ask the questions, right? How does the operation work? Where are the gaps? I don't care what company it is. Every company is not great at everything, right? Even Amazon. People love Amazon. They're still, at what's Amazon's gap? Amazon can't create an experience. Amazon's very bland. You go to the website, you can't try on anything, you can't touch or feel it, right? There's really no soul or spirit with things. Like when we used to all go to the stores, y'all remember that? And not just for holidays like we do now, but um, Amazon can't recreate that experience. They can't create the soul, right? They can make conveniences. They're very good at convenience. They're very good at availability, and they're very good at, in some cases, speed in terms of delivery. But what they can't create is that experience of the soul, the spirit, right? So if you're working for Amazon, what you've got to try to figure out is how can you do that? How can a company like Amazon, and can I have my own company that can help and maybe even partner with Amazon to help create and curate that experience, right? Because like you're here in Memphis where I am, there's Amazon plants and things like that, Amazon fulfillment centers, but there's no way to fulfill that link to the spirit, to the soul of actually touching an item and learning about its history and learning about how it was created, and how it can really help you. You have to kind of know that on your own, right? And so that's just a quick example on if you're working for Amazon, right? I mean, my goodness, what better place to get training, right? Because they're huge. They have all these different departments, they have all these classes. And so instead of, looking at it and saying, oh, well, damn, I got to go to another training class, like shift your mindset and think, okay, there's going to be something from this class that I can use, right? That I can use in my business either now or into the future, right? If you have a side hustle kind of business and you're working your kind of 5 to 9 or beyond, or you're kind of doing it on the weekends, keep those training manuals, ask questions. Don't look at it just for your job function. Look at it for your job function currently and for your business, that you're looking to do. It doesn't matter what business. If you want to get into hosting events, right, and you're at Amazon, you want to understand how do they handle with logistics? How do they handle who's supposed to be where, when? Where are the gaps? Where is it that they need help that maybe I can fulfill or that I can learn from? Right? When you talk with your supervisor, you talk with your boss, not just into your performance on the job, but ask them, how did they get to where they are? What do they recommend for you? Right? One of the questions always asked is, what would you recommend for me if you were me? Right? Shove the ball in their chest. Right? Because now it's just like when you're playing football on the kickoff. If I shove you the ball and the other team's coming to tackle, you got to make a decision quick, right? Or you're going to get your head knocked off. So if you got the ball, all attention's coming to you, right? So I did the same thing with my supervisors and boss, shove the ball in their chest, which is kind of symbolism for ask them the question. If you were me, what steps would you take to get to that next level, right? Don't be shy to say that you're interested in starting your own business. In the past, that was always, a no-no, right? Because companies had this old adage, well, if you're interested in the business, you're not committed to us and all that other, baloney, right? The game has changed, right? And if your long-term thought is to be a business owner, don't be shy in sharing that, because but businesses now they've evolved. They know that most people aren't going to stay there 50 years and get the gold watch again, like in previous generations. They know they're likely not going to do that, and they know you're not going to do that. So for the time that you're there, most people now are staying on their job about 3 years and 7 months or so, right? So they figure on average, you're not going to stay there forever. So you have to have some other aspiration. So if you're interested in starting your business, it's okay to share because those relationships that you build on your job may be great as you go forward in the future. Who better than to know it, for my Amazon example, if you're working at Amazon and the procurement people, right? The people that are handling who gets contracts, right? And you go start your business, what better person to know than to have a relationship with the procurement person and the procurement office that you can call up and say, hey, I started my business. I used to work there. You remember me? Yeah, I remember you. Yeah. Hey, let's put me on your list. Here's my business. I'd love to be able to share what I'm doing and how I can be a resource to Amazon, right? Amazon's going to pay you good money. Okay. But if you know the procurement people and you've built a relationship with them because you viewed it as an apprenticeship versus you just had a job and you're just crumbing to everybody because you're pissed off, you got to work and you're pissed off at your salary and you're pissed off at this, you're just walking around mad, right? Change your attitude and change your approach, right? Choose your attitude. And so know the procurement people, share with your boss. Yeah, I'm interested in starting my own business. And, he or she is more than likely in today's environment to have that in their mind. And so they know, like, when you get to a point where your business can supplant that job and you're looking to leave, you've got these relationships, right? You got people you can connect with, and they know people at other places. The Amazon people know the UPS people, they know the FedEx people, they know the whoever the DHL people. They have vendors that they work with, right? Now imagine the vendor list at Amazon, right? Think if you had access to that when you go start your own business and they say, hey, Ron, we got a great relationship and you did great work for us here at Amazon. There's a couple vendors I'd love for you to talk with. I know you started your coaching business, your leadership development business. Some of these folks could use some of that. Let me make a warm introduction for you, right? So leverage. So that's the thing, you got to be able to leverage these things for success. So shift your mindset, shift your thinking, right? And that's just going to help you so much. So start today. When you go in the office, if you're at the office now, view it differently, right? View it as, let me get access to these materials, let me build these relationships with my coworker. I view my coworkers different, right? I view them as, kind of players in the game with me, right? They're people that I can connect. You don't know, your business partner may be working with you right there at the office or in the facility, right? Um, so think of that. Keep those materials, keep those training manuals, keep those PDFs, right? Email them to yourself, right? And keep a file, keep it on a Google Doc or something, or a Dropbox. Keep those things, right? A lot of those documents have been prepared by an attorney, right? Here's my brother, Mr. O.D.A. coming back, man. Like I said, I got to give my brother some time, man. And I don't want to apologize for that at all. Hey, brother, you back?
Now.
Yeah, I think you're better now. Yeah, I wasn't gonna leave without you coming back, brother, man.
No,
Good
I
morning.
appreciate it, man. I appreciate it, man. I've been enjoying the talk, man. Actually had a question, but I
Yes, sir.
I wanted to say, man, now you got me wrestling because here I am calling myself character coach. Now I don't know if I'm a mentor or a coach or if I'm both. They gotta.
You know what? You're likely both, brother, but go ahead.
Yeah, and so my question was, given I'm working in the 1099 space, I'm in the sales world, and I'm actually considering possibly, starting my own roofing company. I'm really considering it. But I was
Mm.
gonna ask, what would you say are the 2 or 3 most important things that I should prep myself in if I'm trying to go into that entrepreneurship realm, as far as leveraging? I know you mentioned some things, but is there like 2 or 3 things that you believe really stick out that I should be focusing on while I'm at this job right now, and I should leverage a little bit better?
Yes, operations of the business, right? So sales, brother. You'll learn the operation. How's the money flow from A to Z, right? Who's required to run the roofing company, right? You have some sort of admin, right, who is probably taking calls and managing things in the office, managing payments, customer expectations, all those type of things. Who's handling marketing? How do people learn about you all, right? So that you can go out and there's some brand recognition out in your community. How do you manage salespeople, right? So people just like yourself, learning those things. So I would spend time as much as you can, curating relationship with the ownership group, if you can, with your company or whoever you're connected with. How do jobs come in? How does money flow? What are they using QuickBooks? Are they using some type of financial system? Who's their CPA? How can you get introductions to those things? So those, that's right off the bat. Then, of course, building relationships in the real estate communities, right? These homeowners associations. How can you begin attending a homeowners association meeting and sharing with them explicitly? Like, I work for this company. I'm looking to launch my own. What would you recommend? Right. And you start meeting homeowners and asking them questions. Go on social media, brother. Go into those real estate rooms, go into those next door areas, start asking people, what do you like about your roof, or what do you not like? What would you love to see? What was your experience when you had your roof put on or added? Talk to investors, right, who are rehabbing properties every day. And what do they expect? What's the kind of their top two or three things that they look for that they maybe aren't getting today that you could fulfill, right? Some things may just be a wish pie in the sky. Other things may be really valuable for you as you launch your business. And then you put that together with your own personal culture, right? And see how you can develop your business to do that, man. So I love that, man. That and you developing your mentorship coaching business, you're going to be cooking with gas, brother.
No, thank you for that. What would you say to someone if you feel like I have a great, the owner that I'm working with, great owner, is willing to teach me any and everything, but he's not necessarily really structured. What would you
Yeah.
say to someone who I know that I can learn from him, but I don't know if it would I don't know how beneficial it would be because it's not super structured. What would you say to someone, hey, I want to work in this specific industry, but I believe that the company that I'm working for, they got a lot of holes and gaps in the way they kind of function in, and I don't necessarily want to take on those habits.
So what you do is you give them structure, right? And you do that by, putting things on the calendar. Say, hey, I don't know his name, but hey, Ken, I love to get 30 minutes with you to learn some of the other sides of the business, because I think that will help me when I'm in front of the customer and drive more sales, right? And so you're keeping the conversation around what you're doing today, but you're giving them a structure, right? So have him or have him get with his admin to find that time that can be dedicated uninterrupted, right? That's going to be the key for that. I know exactly what my brother is talking about. It's really comes down to adding him that structure by having him put it on the calendar, right? And so when you can add that to the calendar for, say, Ken, for example, that's his, just giving him a name.
Yeah.
Again, I want to be able to learn this business because I think it's going to help me in my current role and then beyond. Can you carve out 30 minutes, for me? And, if he's got an admin or if he does it himself, put it on the calendar, maybe meet him somewhere kind of away from the business, right? Meet him for coffee or something like that. Just say, listen, Doc, okay, I love what I'm doing. I want to be able to do more. Can you help me do more? Can you help me produce more? And he's going to say, sure, I can. And, that's when you start having a conversation and maybe make that reoccurring if you like what you get, brother. Say,
Right. I
Ken,
see what
I
you're
love this.
saying.
Make
So
this,
you're
hey, can we meet every month?
yeah. So you're basically saying is I don't even look at the fact of the way he's necessarily running the business. I may have to eat the meat and just spit out the bones of what, but you're basically saying extract as much as I possibly can from him, but I'm gonna have to put him on a schedule so it's undisturbed, uninterrupted kind of time, and he's a
Uh,
little more intentional and giving me that information. And then, like I think somebody else was saying, I still have to realize that he or she or them, they can't basically hold my hand. But if I can actually get the structure of, okay, if you even want to consider starting a roofing company, here's the main 5 things that you gotta have in place before you can even consider that. That's what I'm hearing you say. You saying
yeah.
I'm gonna just have to extract it out of them, but
Hmm.
it's gonna have to be more on my time
Right.
around his time than thinking that he's just gonna basically tell me. That's not gonna happen based upon his lack of organization and structure. Correct?
That's correct. Yeah, you hit the nail on the head, brother. That is correct. Couldn't said it any better. So now
Okay.
you're managing him, and that's
Right.
what you want to manage up, right?
And
And
you
so
did
now
that. Yeah. That's what you said the other time. You said when your manager came in and he was focused on one thing, and you said you started managing up. Got you. Okay.
yeah, I
Okay.
managed up because guess what? I provided the agenda. So like you do the same thing. You provide the agenda. So now
Right.
he's responding to you, right,
Ah.
and not the other
Okay.
way around. So now, even if he wants to talk about something else, it's going to all be centered around what you laid out because you were the initiator of the
Got you.
contact in that sense, right? And so that's what you want to be able to do, brother. So man, I love that, man, and I'd love to be able to talk some more about that because I think what you're sharing is helping other people, and I hope this has been of value to you as well,
No,
good brother.
absolutely. No, absolutely. I got one more question before my time
Please.
is up. Um, 'Cause you know me, I'm all about asking questions. What I don't know, I'm going to learn. And so, and like you said, while I'm being helped, I'm helping somebody else who may not be asking that question. What outside of the talks that you have, which bring so much value to us, could you point any of us in the right direction of maybe a book or a podcast that would specifically talk about leveraging the job that you at to kind of set you up for entrepreneurship? Do you know of any books or podcasts that we might could kind of pick up or listen to that may be of similar topic?
You know what, brother? I'm gonna be honest with you, man. I don't. I honestly don't. I don't know of any. Whereas I read several books, I haven't really read a book that's kind of specific to this particular topic. This particular topic kind of came about from just kind of my walk through my career. As I've developed it and had mentors on my own, but that's great. One of the things that I'm gonna do, I jotted that down as a note. I'd like to come back to you guys with some materials um, and a podcast. I've talked about it in bits and pieces on my particular podcast, the Minding Your Business podcast. There are other podcasts that I listen to. A lot of them are centered around purely entrepreneurship. They don't really talk about the career factor. But no, that's a really good point. Duly noted to my brother, Mr. O.D.A., for that.
Yeah, no, thank you, man. No, I think this is a great topic, and this is so important for a lot of people who feel like they're stuck. You're not stuck. You just got to begin to leverage it and extract out of it the value that's within it. Thanks, bro.
Yeah, man. Thank you, brother. I appreciate that insight. Appreciate those questions, man, because that helps me. That I think that helps other people. I believe that are here in the room or listening to this in the recording. And so, for those of you that you've heard me share it, Mr. O.D.A. was, really cool and then kind enough, man, to introduce me to this app. And so the reason I'm here, I didn't know anything about this. So the reason I'm here is because of Mr. O.D.A. So all the guests, make sure that you, if they resonated with you, I hope that you tapped in with them and go into their rooms as well, because they all curate great rooms that add value to this community that we have here on Wisdom. And so, again, I hope this was of value to you. Thanks to all the guests today who joined me. That's always dope when people are willing to take the time to come and speak with you on these rooms. I don't take that for granted at all or lightly. But listen, I wish you the very best in the rest of your day. Choose your attitude. And remember, change your mindset around your job, right? It's a great opportunity for you to serve as an apprenticeship without taking the risk. Because when you start your business, that's a risk. You're taking the risk at that point, right? And so what better way, like Mr. O.D.A, is to learn the roofing business while not taking the risk of owning a roofing business, right? What better way to learn the business, what to do and what not to do. I love that, man. The roofing business is so needed. As someone who rehabs houses, almost every house that I've ever bought required some attention to the roof. Oh, everyone, right? I mean, I'm telling you, everyone, whether I've wholesaled it, whether I've bought it, and all the above, the roof was always a key piece. And having a good roofer, a good roofing company is essentially invaluable, whether you're a homeowner and or you're an investor. And so I love that there's a need for him. He brings a skill set, just like all of you, that's unique. I don't care how many other roofing companies there are in the area. None of them are going to be ran by him. Right. And so that's where it becomes super invaluable. And so I love that for my brother. I hope that he continues on that pathway and develops his mentorship coaching business alongside with the roofing business. And that's going to be a brother cooking with gas very shortly, as will all of you, if you adopt this mentality of leveraging your job as an apprentice for entrepreneurship. So I'd like to thank all my guests today, Tiffany, Kathryn, Dr. Robert, and Mr. O.D.A. Thanks to all of you that are in the room or have come by the room. Reba, I see you. Daisy, I see you. Julie, I see you. Greg, Tiffany's still rocking with us. Sheila, Antoinette, Robert Bernard, I see you. Kathryn's been rocking with us. Dr. Robert, Ray, right? Anna, I see you. Martin, John, I see you. St. Clair, I see you. Erica, Danielle, Brittany, Rodlin, I see you. Nadia, Alexander. I guess you got Alexander the Great in the house. Look at that. Cecilia, what's going on? Kelly, how you doing? Jack, Mr. Kronos. I love him. He usually comes up and usually has great insight to share and host great rooms as well. So thank you all for coming in. Again, choose your attitude, make it a great day. There are three things that unite us all. We all want to be a little bit better for ourselves, a little bit better for our families, and a little bit better for our communities. Keep that in mind with everybody that you meet, and we'll together make this place a great place. I'll catch you all in the next room. Peace be unto you.
The I didn't realize you liked me that way deal. Because it's one thing to receive McDonald's, but an entirely other thing to know that they woke up early to face the world and bring you McDonald's breakfast still hot in the bag.
Appreciate you.
There's a deal for every morning. Now grab 2 loaded sausage burritos for only $3. Prices and participation may vary. Single item at regular price. Cannot be combined with any other offer or combo meal.
Ba-da-ba-ba-ba.
Introducing Avocado's game-changing Eco-Organic Mattress, a radically affordable GOTS-certified organic mattress, starting at just $6.99 with easy financing and a 100-night sleep trial. Organic sleep awaits at avocadomattress.com.